digitaljamsessions.com. Hello and welcome to this Digital Jam session. Unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties and a rather epic fail by Skype, we ended up with a series of one-to-one interviews this week rather than a group discussion. So the first of these one-to-one sessions will be with Susan Bonds from 42 Entertainment, followed next week by another individual one-to-one session with the team over at Alice's Adventures Underground. First of all, I just want to welcome you to this Digital Jam session and just first of all make a quick shout out to Chapter Media who have been very generous and kind to give me their lovely studio today. And Susan, if you would like to tell us who you are, what you do, that would be wonderful.
Great. Well, nice to be here. Thank you for having us. My name is Susan Bonds and I'm the head of 42 Entertainment, and we have for the past 11 plus years been working in the field of immersive entertainment. Came out of gaming, came out of themed entertainment. I actually worked as an Imagineer for many, many years on, immersive, brick and mortar theme park experiences and attractions. And so what was interesting to us in starting 42 is, how can we use the world as a platform for collaborative experiences that are story driven, using the technology that people have in their hands. So we've done, kind of really cool, been able to work with really cool people and do a lot of things. We've, done a bridge experience between the last frame of Batman Begins to the first frame of The Dark Knight, which was called Why So Serious? And we've done a concept album with 9 Inch Nails. And we just recently launched the album of a new upcoming artist, Zed True Colors. So we work in a lot of different fields: games, film, television, and also with brands.
And I wanted to start out with a question really around the use of experiential technology in what we would refer to as immersive entertainment. And you've had some experiences with some of your campaigns like Why So Serious? And within the context of these experiences, there are certain types of technologies you may have experimented with. But I'm interested to hear your points of view in terms of the use of specifically experiential technologies that help to amplify and accelerate the experiences for your audiences.
Well, I think for the most part, I would say that our approach to technology has been that it has to, it has to be an enabler of the experience. We want to, for a lot of reasons, use technology that people have access to or they have in their hands. We also want to incorporate the fact that people have woven technology into the fabric of their life.
So that's something that we've always embraced as part of our experiential design. In addition to that, we wanted to create, these immersive entertainment moments where, stories come to life off the screen, and we incorporate, technologies that really punctuate those moments in kind of a, I can't believe they did that, way. So we've done, everything from architectural projection to, using Bluetooth and beacons to, using GPS locators, technologies, and also big show technologies, whether it's, interactive walls or reprogramming the Bellagio fountain or, doing something that just, light painting that just, takes people into a moment that's just pure show and really bringing that story to life.
So in your view, with the way that things like AR and VR are kind of moving forwards and ultimately going to become part of everyday expectation, what do you see as the kind of next technology beyond AR and VR that might have a significant impact in what you do?
Well, I think there's a lot in geolocation that's interesting in terms of being able to tell a story or take people on a treasure hunt or, be able to give people an experience everywhere that's somewhat similar. So, for example, go out of your door, turn left, go 10 feet, that type of thing that gives people the opportunity to have, shared experiences from wherever they are. So I think geolocation is kind of an interesting one. But I also think that, big data and, just being able to not only visualize, but see in real time,
what a lot of people are doing simultaneously, and having access to people who are doing similar things to you. I think that also, is going to play somewhat of a role. I will say that I think, in terms of AR and VR, obviously we're still very early, even though AR has been around for a while. And virtual reality has also been around for a while. I mean, even at Disney, we incorporated VR into some of the attractions to give people, a more immersive experience. And it's kind of interesting. I still think that they have to close some of the emotional connection loop to give people those real immersive entertainment experiences, and also, continue to be a value-added experience, not just a novelty experience, but have to really be integrated into, emotionally connecting storytelling. And I think that they obviously both of them have, in their own ways, maybe VR a little bit more, just a huge investment behind them, where a lot of people are going to be solving some of the problems. Just the barrier of putting a device on your head, is something that you have to overcome in that type of experience. But yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes the best kind of experiential technologies are the ones that are just give people shared moments. And I think that, Twitter and Instagram and, now we're seeing Periscope, which is giving people a sense of being live at an experience that's, being filmed by their friends. There's just a lot of things that are coming up that are all about, hey, I'm doing something cool, I want you to share this with me, that are making it easier and getting people closer to what that actual experience is.
Absolutely. And I suppose when we talk about this need to circumvent the physical technology, such as a headset that we is kind of separating us from the experience, what's your view on things like wearable technology? Because I think that there's a lot of people who view wearable technology as a physical device of some sort, like an iWatch or some kind of wearable jewelry that does something and notifies us of something. But then there's the kind of more organic school of thought, which brings us to things like material alchemy and chemical technology. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are in terms of wearable technology for the purposes of immersive entertainment or ARG experience.
Well, I think one of the big ways that wearable technology is definitely looking at incorporating is, image recognition, but also RFID, and just being able to know that I'm someplace doing something, with a lot of the layer of being able to achieve something or get credit for something, to be able to move to the next level for something. I think wearable technologies could be an interesting part of that, because it's part of an object or a thing or something that you're wearing that you're not thinking about. So it seems like magic. So I think in that sense, and there's been a lot of, I worked on the movie Tron Legacy. There was a fashion show of wearable technology that, that just recognized where you were and could, react to things or record things, which was just kind of very, very, very interesting. But I think that, wearable tech, it is interesting to consider, like, the Apple Watch is wearable tech, where it's, where's your phone? I guess it's a device you're carrying around. It's like an interesting line that we're crossing. But, I do think that it's access to information. I don't know if you tried or were a fan of Google Glass. But I think that it's access to information, but it's also being able to record things that you're doing, whether it's just the fact that you're in a position or doing something, or being able to record something in a way where you're really not thinking about it. I think, some of these early attempts are going to seem clumsy and like, I don't really know. And the form factor design really hasn't gotten to the point where we'd accept it. But, Apple Watch is definitely something that everyone is embracing as wearable tech. It's definitely a smaller display. It's got a different set of functions, and we will once again, retrain our daily routine to incorporate this or not, which will it seems like we will. But, it's like, it's these small steps towards, it has to be value added. It can't just be, you might carry a novelty thing or wear a novelty thing for a while, but unless it's definitely value added in terms of your day, whether it's saving you time, whether it's more immersing you more, getting you closer to an experience that you want to have, or allowing you to share in more real time, something more real, in a sense of what you're sharing. I think that, it has to be evaluated from a value added proposition.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, actually, because there's a couple of moments there where you're talking about things that ultimately, I think there is this interesting question about privacy and the perception of privacy when it comes to big data and the technology that we're walking around with now, and the amount of data that is kind of available to us as marketeers or as, experience creators. Where you see the future of privacy or data becoming an influence in the way that we shape these experiences?
Well, I think it's, I'm stating the obvious to say that, that people younger than us, and people, coming up that are even younger, that have been born in a digital age and have lived with digital their whole life, have a different feeling about privacy than I do, for example. And I think that, again, it's something that you have to look at. What are the behavior patterns of the audience? And I think that for the most part, what we have always tried to do is provide so in many circles, it's been called a rabbit hole, or an entry point into our experiences, where people make a conscious decision to cross, if you will. But, it's definitely a choice that people make. So very much like I'm, going into the theater, or I'm sitting down at a game console, or I'm, sitting down to watch a television show, or going to a fashion show, whatever it is, I'm definitely crossing a threshold into an experience where I'm making a decision to become a part of it. And so that does give you some leeway, to where people are making that decision, and they're willing to be tracked, if you will, as part of a group that are trying to accomplish something. And I think one of the things that you pointed out about alternate reality experiences is they're collaborative experiences. So people are in many cases working together. And while there may be individual accomplishments that you can do, and definitely social recognition that you can have for being the first to do something, in many cases, it's about everyone, doing things all together to unlock things for the group. So I think that there's an opportunity there because people have made a decision. But we try to be very respectful of people who have not made that decision. So, we try to put a rabbit hole out there that people can fall into through a conscious decision that they're making, not that they're being tricked or there's any kind of hoax, or that we're very much against that. And that's never been a part of our work. It's always been, hey, this is a different type of entertainment experience. Come along with us, and you'll have a great time, and people being enticed into doing that because something's so compelling that they really want to be a part of a different type of immersive entertainment. So I think that's a roundabout way of saying that we believe in opt-in. So let me shorten it for you. We believe people should opt in to the type of entertainment that they want to be involved in. And I think, just like the social tools and networks that we're using these days, we're signing up for a certain loss of privacy to be using those. I think that, when you go into immersive entertainment experiences that are using, in some ways, those social networks, you're also opting into that as well.
I'm curious to kind of understand from your perspective, we're talking about this notion of immersive entertainment. And what I think is becoming an emerging trend is to see more and more of these franchises that might be, termed as transmedia. I know we both hate this word, transmedia IP, but there is this emergence of franchise and cross-platform and multi-line of business franchises, that there is a place somewhere in there for immersive entertainment, but it's not yet seen as a line of business. And do you think there's a particular reason why that is the case at this point?
Well, I think that's a very narrow definition because I would argue that, many things going back to Star Wars are immersive entertainment. Because the way I think about it is that, there are, I believe that it's driven by story worlds that we want to dwell in, story worlds that we want to spend more time in. And if you, like me, leave the movie theater and start immediately daydreaming and putting yourself in the story, now we have the ability to allow you to do that in many ways. I mean, I think if you look at The Walking Dead, for example, I think that's a beautiful example of immersive entertainment. It's like, no, the zombie apocalypse isn't happening right outside my door, but, I don't have to leave that world the minute the show ends. I think it was brilliant to launch Talking Dead, airing immediately after Walking Dead, because you're kind of in that mode of like, did that just happen? Did that character really do the thing? What does it really mean? And you want to discuss, and it's giving you an opportunity to discuss. I don't know if you, like me, may have taken part in some Twitter conversations about Scandal. I may or may not have done that, but I'm just saying that, like, it's because you're in that world. You're trying to put yourself in the shoes of those characters, or you're trying to put yourself into the middle of that story, and you want to share that with other people. And I think that those are examples of immersive entertainment. It's like, it's not some magical, to me, everyone should be doing it. If they think that their property has legs, and, many people have termed this, franchise building. But I really do think it's about storytelling and really knowing your story world and knowing where does it want to live, and how does it want to give voice. There's things that have come out that really worked because they were native to the platform that they were on. And you think, oh, this is perfect. It could never be more perfect than this. Like someone might argue that a movie is the perfect platform for a superhero world to come to life. Obviously, they've already lived in comics, for decades. Now we're saying movies are the best way to really immerse yourself in the superhero world. But yet, Why So Serious proved that you can actually get everyone in the world to want to become a citizen of Gotham City, and do things that they can't do, just sitting in a theater looking at the confines of a screen, as amazing as that is. But they could go out and campaign for Harvey Dent, and they could go out and, be, part of the Joker's army and do these kind of crazy, things for him where they don't really understand what it is, why they're doing it. And then even at the end, he makes fun of them because he's an agent of chaos. It's like, there's ways that you can get emotionally connected to characters that are off the screen, beyond the screen. And that's kind of, I think those areas in between people have looked at that and said, well, why isn't that a standalone product? But in a sense, it's not. What we're doing is we have the ability, when we're creating story worlds, franchises, or even, even anything, a documentary, or we now have the ability to tell parts of that story that maybe couldn't fit within the confines of that one anchor entertainment product on other platforms. A very great example of this is one of our early projects was a bridge game between Halo 1 and Halo 2 called I Love Bees.
Yes.
Right. And part of the real draw for the creators of Halo to do something that was, beyond the console was because they had developed just literally thousands of years of backstory. And that there just wasn't time to fit that level of story in a first-person shooter game. So, like, what is a format that we can tell a more in-depth narrative about our world and story, and really show the depth of design that we have in the story world? And so it was not like we were reimagining the world of Halo. We were actually just letting out, pieces of that world on a different platform. And I think that, going back to Star Wars, they have obviously told pieces of that story and allowed people to have access to the world of Star Wars on many, 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 many fronts. And I think that one of the things that they did amazingly well, and as an example to us all, is they kept up with the lore. They had kind of a central, brain, if you will, about the Star Wars lore. So whether you were writing a book about Yoda, or whether you were, creating a character that was going to be sold as a toy line, or doing an interactive, whatever you were doing, there was this checkpoint to say, does this fit in the story world? And I think people are smart today to have those kind of centralized, people who really know the lore of something and really know how does it really fit. But I mean, like, we've done things as simple as, dial a phone number and hack in and listen to a phone message that have been amazingly impactful. And you're just using phones, like you're just using, what we use every day at our fingertips. But yet if you're bringing people through a story, and you're giving people a moment to connect with the character, that could be really impactful because it feels very real. So I think that, the idea of immersive entertainment is something that everyone should be thinking about. if they're making content today,
yes,
they should be thinking about how does this want to come out? What is, what are the aspects of the world that we can have on the screens, beyond the screens, at your fingertips? How do we feed that natural interest that we're sparking? We're saying, come be a part of our story. I mean, like, one of my favorite, and obviously I'm a Disney Imagineer, but one of my favorite things about Harry Potter is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios in Florida, because I can walk through Hogwarts, and I can go on the train, and I can go to Diagon Alley, and I can go into the shop and find my own, wand, or have it find me. I mean, like, these are examples of immersive entertainment, obviously at a big scale. But I mean, like, there are ways to make stories come to life now that everyone should be thinking about. What is the story world I'm creating, and where does it really want to live? And are there opportunities for me, since I'm, one of the fascinating things, and then early on, obviously, we worked in a lot of science fiction fields and worked with a lot of science fiction writers. And it was amazing to me, just the intricate detail that they would think about and have figured out for the world. Well, here's the kind of vehicles that people would be in, and here's the kind of weapons, and here's what they would be wearing, and here's what they would be eating, and here's what home would look like. And just a lot of detail that can't always be fully appreciated in any one entertainment product. So, like, here's an opportunity for you to take something, and really, give people insight into the world in different ways.
digitaljamsessions.com